This plant is Lavandula stoechas silver Anouk, and the most popular Lavandula stoechas is autoquast or quasti, and for me this looks like a derivative of that, the only difference being this intensely grayish white foliage. And I just love it. I saw this in the nursery with what you see behind it, the Caprasma County Park Red, and I just thought they really look great together, so I've done a planting using them that way. So back to the Lavandula, you can see the prime feature for this plant. Well, in this case I'd say the prime feature is actually the foliage color and how nicely the lavender flowers play off of that combo. It's really striking. If you know Spanish lavenders, then you know that they kind of do a main bloom in the spring. At least they do that in Northern California here. They can tolerate drought, they can tolerate heat just fine. They do not tolerate wet feet or heavy soils very well. They also can be short-lived. I don't love this plant in that sense, so when I design with them, I warn my clients that they can be a 2 to 3 year old plant and then need replacing. But I tell you, if I get the added benefit of this plant's foliage color, I'm more willing to live with that. So that's what I would say is use it knowing that it may be fairly short-lived, but if that's the case, then just be willing to replace those when the time comes. Spacing, I space these about 18 inches apart so that they fill in 1 year, and height-wise, these are typically 18 to 24 inches high when they mature. So Lavandula stoechas silver Anouk, highly recommend this plant, just knowing that it's going to be shorter lived in all likelihood, but just be willing to play with that and replace it as needed. The other thing I'd say is deadheading. Watch my video on deadheading for autoquast, and you'll see how to take care of this after it's bloomed. They definitely need deadheading because they do a very profuse bloom that does not self-clean, so you'll need to prune this and deadhead it once it's done its flush of flowers. Otherwise these dead flowers stay on the plant and look pretty bad. But I'd say give it a try, just knowing what you're in for in terms of the maintenance. By the way, the blooms on these, and when they bloom, they tend to bloom very heavy, almost covering the plant in the spring. So maybe April, May, you're going to get a very strong bloom out of these typically, at least in Northern California where we are. But I also see these reblooming. So if you deadhead them immediately after that big flush comes, oftentimes you'll get another round of blooms coming. Now, I just bought these in August, and here they are blooming. So apparently, even in the nursery, you can generate some blooms even later in the summer. Now, these were grown near the coast, but nonetheless, you are, especially, I found when the younger plants were blooming, they bloomed more often and more profusely, and then as they got older, they didn't do that as much. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about how much bloom you're going to get out of these and when. This is silver Anouk in another nursery, and you can see two things. The foliage is, well, the blooms are very close to the foliage, so you get a nice tight bloom. And then secondly, a more intense purple color because of the cooler weather pattern where these are being grown in Monterey County.